All right, team. Just making sure that we've got the live videos. There we go. Okay. Hello, everyone. Just making sure that we've got the tech working for this 5-day mobility challenge. Looking really, really forward to it. So just making sure that everything is up and running and that everyone can see or hear me. Let me know in the chat if all is good, please, if you are there and ready. Looking forward to this 5 days of mobility. Watch how it changes your running. It's going to be amazing. Really excited to be doing something like this. It's something a little bit new and different, and it's something that runners, I think, neglect all the time. So yeah, just making sure that everyone can hear and see me. So maybe jump into the chat if you are online already. If you are listening, let me know where you're from, where you're joining from. It's always cool to see that there's different people joining from around the world. It's a beautiful day here in Pretoria, South Africa. So sure, in the northern hemisphere, it's not as perhaps blue skies as I've got here, but yeah, very, very excited to have everyone with us here today. Yeah, if you want to just jump into the chat, let me know where you're from. Let me know how long you've been running, maybe. Yeah, and some form of flexibility or mobility that you struggle with. And very often it tends to be hamstrings. And really excited because for tomorrow's challenge, or for day 2, we're going to be doing some very, very interesting stuff where I'll make you understand that it's not necessarily your hamstring flexibility that is the problem. So, and how everything is all linked and connected. So yeah, looking very forward to it. Maybe just as a run through, today will be a little bit of an introduction, do some nice dynamic warm-up stuff and a little bit of mobility flow work just to get a good start on things. Day 2 will be a big focus in and around hip mobility, which is really, really, really important for running in terms of improving our running gait, helping with injury prevention so that we're getting a good balance between all the different muscles in and around the hip girdle. And so that is going to be a really cool day. Day 3, we are doing foot and ankle mobility, which you wouldn't think is as important, but it makes sense considering we run and how that can impact everything in and across your running. So that's day 1, day 2, day 3. Day 4, we are going to be doing some upper body work. Again, I think as runners, we neglect this sort of upper body mobility aspect, and again, that can really help as well. And then again on day 4 or 5, I think I've lost count now. On day 5, we will be doing more hip mobility just because it is that important. And so really, really excited for this, guys. And if you are keen and you want to get access to the replays, make sure that you click on the link that is pinned in the comments or in the chat there, and we'll make sure that you then get those replays, and so that if you can't do this right now, that you can do it in your own time when you get home from work or in your lunch break or something. It is literally going to be 15 to 20 minutes, and that is all it'll be. So we won't be taking an entire hour of your time. Yeah, so looking very, very forward to this. All right, I'm at home, so there are 2 dogs that are going to be running around here. Hopefully they don't interfere too much, but this is the joy of what we do as well, is that you don't have to go to a gym. We can do it at home, and really then it kind of becomes down to the fact that there's no excuse anymore, right? So that we can make sure that we're getting all the mobility and strength that we need. So looking really, really forward to this, guys. As I mentioned, today is going to be a little bit of an introduction. We'll go through some warm-up techniques and so on, and then a little bit of a mobility flow at the end. And then we'll get cracking from there. So just waiting to see, just giving everyone a little bit of time to still join in and connect to the live stream. And then we can get cracking and get started. So for today, guys, you're just going to need your mat and your mobility. That's all. We don't need any equipment at the end of this. At the end of today, I'll tell you what you'll need for tomorrow, and we can take it from there. Again, we're trying to make this as easily accessible as possible so that you don't necessarily have to go to a gym or anything like that, so that you can do it in the comfort of your own home, and even have Netflix in the background if you really want to. Okay, so I'm just going to make my screen a little bit bigger here so that I can see, and then we can get cracking. All right, so All right, so as I mentioned, today is just a nice little introduction, and what I'm going to go through now is what we do as a dynamic warm-up, and this is really awesome because you can do this before your strength sessions, before your runs. Runners don't warm up enough, and so this is a nice way to really get your sessions started, whether it's a strength session or a run. Just a little bit of science behind why we do these the way we do. Static stretching does not have any sort of correlation towards injury risk, so there's no reason why you should be static stretching before any of your sessions. In actual fact, it's shown to reduce your power output, so we want to do stuff that is dynamic and moving orientated, and that's the whole thing with this mobility challenge, is that we are looking not just to stretch a muscle and bring it back, but to actually get some movement and range of motion around a joint with stability. Okay, so that's where that is a little bit different. But let's get cracking here. I want to just get us started with some warm-up sort of basics. So we'll start off with some leg swings. All right, so hold on to something for some balance, and we're going to do some leg swings. So forward and back leg swings. All right, so what you're focusing on here is you want to make sure that you're getting your hamstring at the back. So if I show you from the side, whoops, sorry. So if I show you over here, we're getting hamstring over there, and when we're going this way, we're getting hip flexor. Try and make sure that your upper body is nice and straight so that you're not rocking yourself like so. Nice straight upper body to then be going leg swings forward and back. So we start off gently, start off with a smaller range, and once you get to about 8 or 9 reps, you can pick up that range of motion and speed that you do it in. You're looking anywhere between 8 to 15 reps on each side. So same thing on the other side, focusing again on keeping your upper body upright, keeping these hips still, so you don't want to open up over there. Keep these hips, imagine that there's 2 eyes over here, and you're keeping those nice and still. Same thing, 8 to 15 reps. And again, if you're feeling a little bit stiff or tired, you can spend a little bit more time there in that. All right. Once we've done those, we tend to go into our side-to-side leg swings. So up and sort of across the body. You don't have to go all the way across. Some people, when they go across, they then turn. Again, keeping those eyes facing forward. Right, and here we're focusing on the adductor, on the inner thigh. Same thing, start nice and slow and build up from there, making sure that you're going full range of motion. And then same thing on the other side again. So here, torso is upright, hips facing forward, or those eyes facing forward. And here we're focusing on the adductor. All right, from there, we will then go into our hamstrings. Okay, so how we want to dynamically stretch our hamstrings is you put your heel on the ground, make sure your toe is facing up to the ceiling or the sky, and then from here, with this straight leg over here, reaching down with both hands, sort of scooping the ground, standing up and onto the other side. All right, so up, and the goal here is that you don't have to touch the ground. I prefer that your leg is straight, so don't bend your knee to touch the ground. If you can only go that far, that's okay. Make sure we're alternating, so right leg, then left leg, and with each rep you can then go a little bit further and a little bit further, depending on your flexibility. But remember, the goal is here to keep this leg straight, so don't bend this leg to touch the ground. Okay. Here again, we want to do at least 8 on each side. Again, if you're feeling stiff and sore, spend a little bit more time there to help you loosen up a little bit before your session. All right, so heel on the ground, toe facing up, and alternating to each side. All right, let's give you guys a little bit of time to do that. And then from there, I want to move into our glutes. So really important for runners, and we never really tend to warm these up properly. So what we're going to do is hold on to something for some balance. You're going to put one leg across the other in a figure 4, okay? And from here, you're going to sit yourself down. You'll feel that glute stretch. Stand up and do it on the other side. So sit yourself down, feel it stretch, hold it for 1 to 2 seconds, and then come out. Don't sit and hold it here for very long, right? You don't want to be in this position the whole time. Just 1 to 2 seconds, and then onto the other side. I find it's quite nice to hold on something over here, and then you can really sit yourself down, right? Otherwise, what tends to happen is people just tend to do this, bend their upper body. Okay, we really have to focus on sitting ourselves down. Same thing there, we're looking for around 8 minimum reps. A key aspect here, and you'll find if you have a very tight piriformis, your knee is going to be sitting up here. you want to push that knee down away from your chest. All right, so over there. So don't have it up here. Use your other hand to push that knee down. Same thing on the other side. Again, focusing on getting the bum down, not just the upper body bending over. Okay. Really just getting those glutes waking up a little bit, firing nice and strong so that we can get that power for when we start running. All right. The next one we're going to do is warming up our calves. Also very important for running. So lean up against the wall or a counter or a door. What you're going to do from here, don't have your bum sticking out. Tuck that pelvis in, nice and strong. And from here, just pushing up onto your toes and down onto the other side. Gently at first, so sort of just going through the full range of motion. And then for the first 5, or the second 5, you can then pick that up a little bit. But again, keeping that full range and not sticking the bum out. Tuck that core in. And the last 5, a little bit more and more. Keep going there. We want to do 15 of those on each side. Just a note, guys, if you have any questions or anything, pop them into the comment section there, and I will answer some at the end of this as well. So while you guys are doing that, you can just let me know if you have any questions as we go along. And just remember to register if you want the replays. It's important that you then click on that link that's in the comments chat as well. All right, then carrying on. So now we've done the back of the calves. What we want to do is now the front of the shins. Right, we're going to do heel walks. So you're going to try and point your toe up to the sky or the ceiling and walk on your heels. You feel like matchsticks, that's fine. Right, we just want to get the front of those shins warming up. Right, and we're going to do at least 10 on each side. I've got a smaller space. Your space might be a little bit bigger. That's fine, just turn around. You will be doing this with slightly straighter legs. You don't want to stick our bums out. We're going to keep doing that. So at least 5 to 10 on each side there. Again, focusing on the front of the shins. And now we've done the back of the shins, we've done the glutes, we've done the hamstrings. Now we can start doing a little bit more in and around the hip. Sorry, I don't want to rush. Take your time with those heel walks. And start feeling where you feel tight. What works, or where are you feeling like things are a little bit tighter or not? Next we want to do is our hip flexors. Really important for running. So what I want you guys to do is grab your knee up to your chest, take a big step forward, right? And then you're going to put this back knee on the ground and lift your hand up. Same thing on the other side. So turn around, grab my left knee up to my chest, big step forward, put my back knee down, leaning into that, lifting up the hand. And again, we're doing this as a dynamic movement. So we don't hold this, sorry, other side, we don't hold that for too long. Hold it for 1 to 2 seconds. And then same thing on the other side. We can do 5 of those on each side, and then just getting those hip flexors warming up. All right, I'll give you guys a chance to finish those. Take your time, don't rush, and especially with putting that knee down, take your time to do that. Make sure you've got a mat or a towel under your knee just to help you with that over there. Nice and warm in Pretoria today, so I will be continually drinking some water as we go along. All right, okay, now we're doing some movements where we are putting things together. So we're focusing on the hamstring, lower back here, and a little bit of the upper body. We're going to do what we call inchworms. Okay, so from here, hands go onto the ground. You can bend your knees like me if you need to, right? But now try and hold that. Don't bend too much. Try and get those hamstrings working. Walk your hands out all the way to a nice push-up position, and then you're going to walk your feet back to your hands. All right, so we do that again. Hands down to the ground. Walk your hands out by keeping the legs straight. So feel those hamstrings. Nice strong push-up position. Walking your feet back to your hands. And we're going to do 5 of those. What's really nice about that is it's working the whole posterior chain to help you really get that all nice and warmed up as well. So we are moving slightly now towards, while it's still dynamic, this is just a little bit more mobility as opposed to flexibility. Can you guys see that difference, right? So flexibility would be this, right? Touching the toes and holding that as a static movement. Mobility is moving through that range of motion. So here we go, we're moving in there. We're still working the hamstring, but we're moving while we do the movements. All right. Okay, Next one we're going to do, again, focusing on the lower back a little bit more. What I want you guys to do here is have your hands out to the side, okay? Shoulders flat on the ground, knees and feet together over here. And what you're going to do, keeping the shoulders flat, gently drop both knees to the ground, come up to the middle, and same thing to the other side. Slow and controlled, so don't just drop, right? Feel that in the lower back. Keep the knees together, and same thing on the other side, keeping the knees and the feet together. Feel it in the lower back by keeping the shoulders flat. And again, depending on how you are feeling, if you have a slightly tighter lower back, you might want to spend a little bit more time there. But those are really, really nice to do just to get a little bit of movement in the lower back. If you have tight hamstrings, and we'll go into more of that tomorrow, and then I can show you how that is not just tight hamstrings, it could be all linked to something else. Very often your lower back will be quite sore or tight, and it affects your running posture and so on. And so we want to start getting some movement in that area as well. All right, so knees together, control the movement down and up. All right, now we're going to get a little bit of movement in our hips. Same thing, arms to the side. What I want you to do here is you're going to lift that leg up, and you're going to try and come across your body to the opposite hand. Okay, you'll see that I don't even touch my hand, right? Up and across. Try and get your toes to your hands. Same thing on the other side. Up and across. And if you can't, like me, that's also fine. Go as far as you can. Again, we're just trying to get some movement in and around this hip girdle. And you want to do at least 3 to 5 on each side there with those. Obviously I can't see you guys, but if you feel like I'm rushing or going a little bit too fast, please let me know. So I just want to make sure that I know, yeah, where you guys are at and the pace that you're working at. So those are called supine rotations. What I'd like to do now is what we call prone rotations. Prone is when you're just lying on your tummy. Supine is when you're lying on your back. So we're going to do the same thing now, right? So out, lying on your side, arms out to the side like so. Now you're going to try and get your opposite leg to the opposite hand, right? So right leg to left hand, left leg to right hand. And here we're working on lower back, a little bit of movement in and around the pelvis. Try and reach all the way across. You can see mine also isn't as mobile as perhaps it should be. And the other thing you'll notice with this, guys, while you're doing it, is your mobility is going to change. So if you've had a big weekend of training and you did a long run and, I don't know, a ride or another long run, you probably find that you are feeling a little bit tighter in certain areas, and that's why this is so good. But there might be a day where this feels very easy, and that's fine. Then we'll give different progressions for certain exercises as well. All right. So again, 3 to 5 of those, and just start noticing where you are feeling tight, what feels easy for you, what doesn't feel easy, so that you can start focusing on those areas. Okay, last one before we do our mobility flow for the day is again just focusing on the lower back and the mid spine. A lot of runners, or a lot of people really, have this kind of poor posture, and we're very tight in our thoracic spine, and so very important to just start getting a little bit of movement there. I read this thing the other day saying that movement is medicine, and this is really the focus of what we're doing here. Okay, so on all fours, what you're going to do is you're going to tuck your chin in. You're going to take a deep breath in, tuck your chin in, and round up your back. So here, deep breath in, round up the back, and then breathing out, looking up to the ceiling, trying to get this chest up to the ceiling, and arching the back over there. And we're going to go again, so breathing in, rounding up the back. But here the focus is not that we're moving the pelvis backwards and forwards, so arching, getting the movement in the spine, not in the pelvis. Okay, we're going to do 5 of those, rounding up and arching. Just really getting some nice movement in the mid spine. It is an area that we do tend to neglect, and if you play golf at all, that is also a really, really good exercise to get some movement there so you can work on some of that rotation. My golf coach always shouts at me because I'm a runner, and he's like, you have no movement in your hips because you do everything linearly. So this is just an add-on for you guys who do play golf as well, or any rotation sport, right? So tennis, paddle, etc. All right, so let's just give you guys a chance there. Let me slow things down a little bit. Sorry if there was a little bit of a rush. What we're going to do, so that is essentially our dynamic warm-up, okay? If you didn't get all of these, and you're not going to remember them, that's fine. If you want the replay, just register on that link, guys. That's important. But every day when we do this mobility challenge, we'll do a few of these exercises just to get some blood flow going, so when we're doing the mobility, we are a little bit warmed up so that we're not really moving around cold muscles, right? So think about if you take a steak out of the freezer, right, and you then try and move it, it's going to be cold, and we don't want that to happen necessarily with our muscles. So we'll always do a little bit of a warm-up, dynamic warm-up, specifically before we start some of this mobility work. Okay. What I want to finish off with today, and I'll go through this very slowly, is what I call my mobility flow. It takes a couple of different mobility exercises and puts it into one. I really like doing this as something every morning. So as you wake up, it's really nice to do just to get yourself sort of moving and agile a bit. So again, if you want the replay of this, make sure you just click on that link to get the replay, and then you can learn how to do this mobility flow. And as I mentioned just before we start, if you did come in a little bit late, we're going to be focusing on different things. So tomorrow we're going to be focusing on hip mobility, which is really, really important for running, gait, running's power, injury prevention, because the body is a chain and everything works in that sort of way. So hip mobility tomorrow. The next day we'll be doing foot and ankle, right, and sort of lower leg mobility, really important for everything in terms of the chain and how we run, and in particular people who struggle with foot injuries. The next day we'll be doing some upper body mobility, which is also so neglected. And then again on the last day, just because it's so important, is that hip mobility for runners and how this is going to change the way you run. Okay, so let's get into this mobility flow. I will do it nice and slowly because there are moving parts to it, and once we get the flow of it, you can pick up the pace a little bit. Okay, so starting out, we're going to start with our feet together and just take a nice deep breath in, looking up at the ceiling. So deep breath in, looking up, deep breath out. As you blow that air out, we can sort of bend ourselves over, touching our toes, right? So I'll show you that from the side. Don't have to, if you can't touch your toes, that's fine, just bend the knees ever so slightly. We're just going to straighten that back a little bit. All right, and then from there, what we're going to do is we're going to do an inchworm. So I showed you that at the beginning. Sorry to miss that over here, right? So we've gone for a nice deep breath in, deep breath out, touching the ground. Now we're going to do an inchworm again. So reaching, well, sort of putting our hands all the way out. Okay, push up position, lie yourself down, just over here into a nice cobra. So just push your chest up, keep the hips on the ground. All right, pushing the bum back up into the air. So I hope you guys are with me. So from the cobra, from here, bum back goes up into the air, over there into essentially a downward facing dog. Feel the heels go down into the ground, and you'll feel your calf and your hammies really get a nice sort of stretch. And then from there we're going to go into a lunge. Okay, so I'm going to use my left. So I'm going to put my left foot next to my left hand. Okay, here's my left hand on the inside of my left foot. You can put that back knee on the ground, okay? But I just don't want that back knee too close to your front foot. If you can have it in this position, that's good, but try not to have your bum in the air, okay? So in that position over there, we're then going to do what we call the world's greatest stretch. We will do this one every day. You're going to take, so if your left foot is forward, left elbow goes down to the inside of the left ankle. So I'll show you from the front. Left elbow down to the inside of the left ankle. Your right hand is just as a base of support. Take that left hand up to the ceiling. Look at your hand so that you get a nice rotation over there. What we're going to then do is just rock back onto your right knee, so you're getting a nice hamstring stretch. Hands come back down, and we're going to start again. So we go back into our downward facing dog. Now we're going to go with the right hand, or right foot. Right foot lunge forward, right? Your left hand is here in line with your right foot to give you some stability. You can put that left knee on the ground. Grab your right elbow and put it down to the inside of your right ankle. Hold it there for 1-2 seconds. Reach that right hand up, holding that there for 1-2 seconds. Rocking yourself back so that we stretch this hamstring, so straighten the front leg. Point the toe up to the ceiling. Put your hands back down, and we're going to start again. All right, so then walk your hands back, and that's our flow. All right, so we'll do that 2 more times so you guys get the hang of it. Feet together, deep breath in, looking up to the ceiling, deep breath out, rolling ourselves over, getting our hamstring stretched, side view, walking yourself out into a nice push-up position, dropping yourself down, from here into a cobra, so gently pushing the chest up. Right, from there, bum goes up into the air, into a nice downward facing dog. Push those heels down. All right, and there we go into our world's greatest stretch. So lunge left, lunge forward. You can put that back knee on the ground. Left elbow down to the inside of the left ankle. Left hand up to the ceiling or the sky. Make sure your eyes follow. Rock yourself back, straighten that front leg, feel the hamstring, point the toe up. You'll feel when you point the toe up how that hamstring stretches. All right, and we can then change sides. Left leg goes back, right leg comes forward. Put this back knee on the ground, right elbow to the inside of the right ankle. Reach that right hand up to the sky, make sure we're looking, leaning ourselves back, point the toe up to the sky, and then we can come back to the start. Walk your hands back to the start. All right, we'll do that 1 more time so you guys just get the hang of it, and I'll talk you through it. And again, just a reminder, any questions, please pop them there and I'll happily answer them as soon as we're done with this one. This is the last movement that we're doing. Deep breath in, look up, breathing out, rolling yourselves down. Make sure that we can walk ourselves out into a strong push-up position. Drop yourself down into a cobra. That's it. Bums go up in the air. Push those heels down into the ground so you get a nice downward facing dog. Left lunge forward. So your left foot in line with your left hand. Left elbow goes down to the inside of the left ankle. Hold that there for 1, 2 seconds. Reaching that hand up. 1, 2 seconds. Rocking back, toe pointing up. Swap sides. Right foot forward. Right elbow down to the inside of the right ankle. Reaching that hand up. Rocking yourself back. Use your hands for balance. And then from there, back to our starting position. All right, so once you get the hang of that, as I mentioned, it's a really, really nice flow to get going for you in the mornings. Something nice to do before a run, after a run. It really, really helps. And we are going to take elements of that movement and do it in tomorrow's hip mobility. Tomorrow's hip mobility is going to be really, really cool. What I want you guys to maybe focus on is go for a run either this afternoon, maybe if you have a run planned, and then maybe go for a run after we do tomorrow's hip mobility, and try and see if you are feeling any differences from every day and what we do here every day. Okay, just for tomorrow, if you guys have, I'm going to use this little foot roller. Okay, you don't have to have this, but if you have a baseball, cricket ball, golf ball, just something that's sort of hard, that we can use. If you don't have that, a hard water bottle will work as well. Yeah, just something that we can roll our feet with so that you can just get a feel for some stuff. And I just want to show you how everything is all linked, and how when we think we might have tight hamstrings, we actually have other aspects that might need some work, and it's not just a matter of, oh, I have very, very tight hamstrings. You know, I played football or soccer growing up and I have tight hamstrings. Actually, the whole body is a chain, and how that works and how this is going to change your running as well. All right, let me just check if there were any questions that came up. My team that is in the back want to just let me know. I don't see any actual questions that have come up. There's nothing on my side over here. All right. Okay. Well, yeah. No real questions, and that's also fine. That's cool, guys. Think about it. If you think of questions and you want to ask them tomorrow, that's perfect. Come in and ask those questions. Really, tomorrow is going to be a great day. Tomorrow is the awesome one with hip, which is so important for running. So yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing you guys there. And again, there should be a link pinned at the top of that comment group or chat. Just please click on that and make sure you register so you get access to the replays, and so that you are then getting all the replays and yeah, all of this, so you can do it in your own time again. Cool. One of the questions that I see has come through is, can I do the shoeless? Oh, okay. So I'm not sure who that's from, but that is a great question. So I'm outside today, and I mean, there's some stones here, so I'm not doing it shoeless. I love when people do mobility without shoes. Tomorrow we're definitely doing it without shoes. Part of the reason for that is when you're standing barefoot, the nerves and the kinesthesis that your feet touching the ground has an impact on what's going on neurally, right? So every time your foot touches the ground and you're moving, there are different sensations or sensory things that are happening to then alert your brain to other aspects. And what I'm going to show you guys tomorrow is how our feet and our sensory work is linked across the board. Okay, so I love it when we do mobility without shoes, because we do get that sensory aspect as well that we often don't get when we are wearing shoes. I just wore shoes for today because of where I am, but yeah, definitely without shoes is an awesome way, because then you are just working on that sensory side of things as well. And so much of mobility is sensory as well as movement and range of motion as well. Okay, that is an awesome question. Thank you for that. Nick Burns, yes, thanks. That is Lindsay joining in. You actually, I think he should, Nick, because Lindsay often speaks about how when he does mobility well, and Lindsay's had a bit of a bad run of some glutes and lower back injuries in the past, and he has said in the past where he's feels very tight, and then he'll go out and do a mobility session, and he does his speed session afterwards, and it makes such a difference. And the reason it makes a difference is when we start working on that hip mobility, which is what we're doing tomorrow, it changes your running gait and your stride. And so imagine if you're doing a faster heel session or intensity or interval session, you are able to then get a greater stride out, because we've worked around that range of motion on your hips and on your movements. And so that's really where it will help some of your running strides and your running sessions. But again, it's just finding the balance between mobility and strength and stability, and that's also what we're going to focus on tomorrow as well. So yes, I will give Lindsay some slack and tell him that he needs to join in as well. Thanks, Donnie. So he says, found out I've got a few stiff muscles. Very nice. I enjoyed it. That's good, Donnie, and hope you join tomorrow, because guys, the thing with this mobility is that just a once off like this, yeah, cool, it's going to be helpful, but if you come and do that hip one tomorrow and we can continue that, you'll see the changes that it makes in how you feel. Just general stiffness, of course. We sit at desks and we're always crunched up, we're in a car all the time, so it is going to make a general difference to how you feel in your general life, and obviously to your running as well. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Make sure you join up for the rest of the days. It's going to be awesome. The hip one I'm really excited for, and I'm really excited for the foot and core one, or foot and ankle one on day 3. But yeah, really looking forward to this. It's I just really personally feel how much the mobility helps my running, and I want to share that with you guys as well. So be sure to join tomorrow and the next day and register on that link, and yeah, then we'll see you guys then. Thanks guys for joining, and I will see you all tomorrow.